Today on Singles Court, Dave's new to the big city, so Ted gave him a warm welcome.
When he came to the big town, I was just trying to help him out, you know?
All right, Mr. Holiday Inn.
Ted says a roll in the hay is okay, but a relationship? No way.
We have nothing in common.
Wait, so everything was lies then?
No, it wasn't
the boy
lies.
And Oscar.
Look, you're a great guy, okay?
And Brian gets his money for nothing, but his chick's not free.
I'll make sure that you have enough money. I'll fund your writing.
Laura's blowing the dough, and Bri wants to know where it's going.
We had an agreement. I only agreed because he promised he wouldn't ask me where I spent it. And now I'm starting to resent the fact that he's here.
So give him the money back!
And he doesn't trust me.
No.
Hi, I'm Michael Day. Welcome to Singles Court, the #1 show on the Singles Broadcast Network, and the place where singles come to find help with their relationship problems. And here's the lady who listens to them, nationally syndicated relationship expert Angela Siegel.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, Angela.
Yeah,
And
you look great today, Angela. You look beautiful. I love that suit on you.
I was getting to that. You just didn't give me a second to finish my sentence. You know, I have to breathe sometimes, okay? Unlike you. Okay, now that we're done breathing, let's get on with the show. In the studio today, we have Dave and Ted. Dave is a young, virile fitness consultant, and Ted is a slightly older, but still virile pizza store owner. The two met recently, and Dave has recently moved into Ted's place, and things were going great. However, he feels it's cooled off a little bit. I'll let them explain it more, but I call this the case of love me, love my friends.
Dave, you got beef with Ted, huh? What's going on?
Absolutely. He, well, I mean, like it was said, it was great at the beginning. I went into Teddy's Pizzeria, we had a conversation, told him I was staying in a hostel, and he offered his place to me, which was a lot better.
So this is somebody that you met and just started talking to him, told him you were staying. Basically, a hostel is like not a very nice hotel.
No.
Never been to one? Please let that be known. And would not stay in one, but I understand what you're saying. Not the nicest place.
It's great when you're traveling. Well,
okay.
I'm new in town, have no friends, and he wants to help me out, and I appreciate that. He's really sweet for that. But slowly things escalated.
So you just left.
Bad.
You left the hostel and moved in with him.
Yep.
Okay, in his place. Mm-hmm. Do you make that a habit for everybody you meet?
No,
Ted?
no. I mean, he walked into my shop. You know, I mean, he's a great-looking guy, and you know, right away, I'm a bit stunned. Then he starts talking to me, and we start having a really pleasant conversation. And you know, I'm flattered. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I find out he's new to the town, right? He's a little bit lonely. He's a little bit depressed. I had a place, and I offered him to come in and and share my apartment. And the fact that a relationship started was just an unforeseen bonus. It just completely
it just happened.
If you didn't know a relationship would start, then why did you invite me in the first place?
I invited you because you're a very attractive guy.
So it's all physical.
You're personal,
so
we
you
had a
didn't
good
know
conversation.
a relationship would start, yet you invited him because he was attractive.
Well, he was living in a crappy hostel.
Exactly.
I'm from a small town. He came to the big town. I was just trying to help him out. You know.
All right, Mr. Holiday Inn. So what happened after that?
Well, things were good. We'd go to movies together. I mean, we'd go for walks in the park. We'd go rollerblading. We did everything together. Everything was great. And then, it slowly escalated where he was hanging out with his friends. Whenever it's dinner time, he cooks or makes me cook what he wants. Never what I want. With the movies, if we get to see a movie anymore, it's what he wants to see.
So in other words, you were in his position with no power.
I'm
and he had a position with, well, no, you weren't compromising. You were doing what he told you to do. Why would you put him in a position where he has to do everything according to your plan? I know it's your place.
I wasn't trying to put him in a position to he didn't know anybody in town. Look, I'm 45 years old, okay? I'm not the greatest catch. I'm not chopped liver either. But I've been single all my life. I have a great network of friends. I have family. I had no idea that my social calendar.
Do you want to be single for the rest of your life?
No,
what is your point? Is there a point in here somewhere?
Yes, the point is I didn't know that my social calendar was really affecting him this way. Okay, I took him out to see all my friends. I made sure he was in a big environment so he can meet more
friends.
people.
Are they more important than me?
Well, you didn't
I
have
think I'm
any
a bit
friends.
more than a friend.
I mean, come on, you work in a
Ted,
gym and you never brought anybody home.
I have a question for you, though. I have a question for you. You said you didn't know it was going to turn into a relationship.
No, I didn't.
Okay, but the big surprise whammy hit you, and it was a relationship.
Well, yeah, and it was fantastic.
If he didn't want a relationship, then why was he coming on to me? Why does he, you know?
Well, come on, look, I mean, the guy's a hot. I mean, he's gorgeous, right? He walks in and he wants to have a relationship with me. I think that's fantastic, and it was great, but...
I'm not some boy toy.
No, I didn't say you were. I'm just saying,
He just treated you like one. He didn't say you were.
He's treating me like a piece of meat here,
I'm an inflexible guy. I have a lot of demands on my time, and I was hoping that after a while, once our relationship was going on, you'd realize that, and perhaps maybe you'd get a little bit tired of it, and you would meet new other friends.
Tired of what?
So
this is your game. This is your game where you want me to get tired of you.
Explain to me, Ted, the part where when it became a relationship where you didn't think it was necessary to tell him your true feelings, include him in your life.
My true feelings were on the surface. I did try to bring him into my life. I introduced him to all my friends. I can't just close the doors and lock out all my friends now that there's a new man in my life. Some of these guys are like I've known since high school. A few of them are ex-boyfriends, but you know, I ended those relationships and we're friends because that could happen. And
but I'm missing the point of it. Still doesn't sound like
he wants me to spend all my time with him now.
Spend some time with me.
What? But Dave, he does.
You never invite me out.
He has a point there. First of all, you live there. What's to invite you out? You just go. All of his friends are there. I mean, it's like you're sitting here like this big victim when in reality, you're in his place.
He doesn't invite me. He just goes out straight from work. He goes out with his friends, never invites me.
I invite
never
you
does
to
anything
all my
with
friends.
Me
As a matter of fact, I've been hoping that you would like meet my friends, get to like them, and maybe perhaps start a relationship with them. Because you know, basically, I've been trying in the nicest way to tell him our relationship is over.
Like I'm not some slave boy.
I don't think he just heard that.
No, I think you missed something.
Of course it's over.
Rewind. What do you mean? The relationship is over?
Look, you know, I mean, the sex was great. I mean, when that happened, it was fantastic.
I'm a piece of meat.
It was great, you know. But after that, I can't believe it, but I've been bored silly. I mean, we have nothing in common.
Great, so everything was lies then.
No, it wasn't
lies.
An
Oscar.
Look, you're a great guy, okay? You have a great heart and a great soul, and I really like you, but we're not going to spend...
You know, and I don't mean to laugh, but I have to tell you that this is pretty obvious. I mean, the only thing the problem I have with you, I mean, obviously, I don't know how you didn't see what he was interested in, but you didn't. You knew he didn't. You're older, you're more experienced, he's in your city, you were in the control position. Explain to me why you felt it wasn't necessary to tell him.
I have been trying to tell him. I have been trying to lead, you know, to spend less time,
You don't tell some, let me give you a little tip. You don't tell somebody I'm not interested and then sleep in the bed with them. Doesn't work that way.
No, I didn't know it was going to happen. I mean, this relationship started...
No, while it's happening. Because he wouldn't be hurt like he is right here today if you told him the truth. The truth of the matter is, you said you tried to tell him. Tell me how you tried to tell him.
The truth is a continuum, you know, of realizations. You know, many people probably, yes, maybe I could have been a bit more upfront with him.
Like what? Like telling him and
saying, you know what?
A lot of
I don't
grief
think we have much more in common.
A lot of grief.
You know, and can I say this? I mean, I agreed to come here to settle this, so let's do it, all right?
Yeah,
I didn't think that this would happen. The situation happened easily. And, you know, he came into the relationship.
What part did you not think would happen? You invite a guy who you obviously keep saying how attractive he is.
I thought we would have common interests. We don't. I like opera. He listens to punk. You know, I read. He looks at pictures in magazines.
Fine.
You know, and it doesn't make him a bad person. It just doesn't mean that there's a relationship possibility to continue here.
Okay, but why didn't you tell him it was over?
You're the bad person. I'm not the bad person. You're the one that lies.
He's a great guy.
You're the one that's conniving. You're the one that uses little...
Why didn't you tell him it was over? That's the question.
Pardon?
Why didn't you tell him it was over?
I was trying to.
Well, guess what? This is over too.
Yes.
I'll be back with my resolution.
You know, I don't understand with you. You know, like I tried everything. I mean, here we are.
To lead someone on in a relationship, any relationship, is despicable. Dave, you need to have more discretion. That's not news to you, I'm sure. You need to avoid relationships where you're powerless. You were in a situation where you didn't know anybody, you were in a city you didn't know, you didn't have a place to live. So you put yourself in a position where you had no power. And the feelings that you think that you were developed towards Ted were probably based on the fact that that's where you lived and that was the only circle of friends that you had. You can control that, though, by just making sure you don't do that again. And you need to judge a man by his actions, not by his words. No matter what he says, his actions were clear that you didn't matter too much to him. So pretty much the writing was on the wall. Don't be a body for anybody. Be a mind. Ted, I mean, all I can say to you is that you have a right to choose whoever you want to. And I understand that, and I think that you understand that. However, you don't have a right to take people's heart and just totally turn it inside out. You have an obligation to tell someone when the relationship is over, and you didn't do that. The other thing that I think you need to realize is it was not an accident that you all had a relationship. It was your intention. Whether it be for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 10 years, you knew that was going to happen. That's what you liked about him. He was attractive. So there was no accident there. When a relationship is over, it must be communicated firmly that it's over. You chose not to do that. I tell you, if you did the same act again, Ted, found a homeless guy who was hungry and offered him your apartment, you'd get the same result. He'd come home with you. But ultimately, you'd end up being his sugar daddy. And one thing that I can promise you is one day the table will turn, and that sugar daddy that's standing right there will crumble. And that's that.
Next on Singles Court. Brian gets his money for nothing, but his chick's not free.
I'll make sure that you have enough money. I'll fund your writing.
Laura's blowing the dough, and Bri wants to know where it's going.
We had an agreement. I only agreed because he promised he wouldn't ask me where I spent it. And now I'm starting to resent the fact that he's here.
So give him the money back!
And Singles Court is back with nationally syndicated relationship expert Angela Siegel.
Well, I tell you, Michael, there ought to be some sort of theme song that says "Tale as old as time." It's always the same thing: boy meets girl, yeah.
Well, I happen to be a talented musician. All you have to do is ask me, and I'll kick out a theme song.
I think you should work on that.
Yes, I've got my little Casio keyboard at home. We'll do it. Okay, but not enough about rockin'. Let's get talking. We in the studio today have a pair of singles. Say hello to Brian and Laura. Brian is a very successful investor, and Laura is a poet. The two met about a year ago and have been together since, and in fact are engaged to be married. Brian gives Laura a bit of money, a sort of a fund to support her poetry, and however, he feels that it's being a bit misused now. I'll let him explain it a little better than that, but I call this the case of blank checks and balances or no trust fund.
You are creative. Mm-hmm. Brian, the fact that you're even giving an allowance is kind of different, so tell me how that came about.
Well, I guess for me, money is not the object of all things. Although I came from a wealthy family, I've had no problem making money. I'm an investor, but money doesn't rule me.
Money totally rules you.
I really,
That's exactly why we're here.
I enjoy the arts. I enjoy movies and writing, and I ended up going to a poetry festival a little over a year ago, and I saw Laura reading her poetry, and I was blown away, and I just had to meet her, and we met, we started dating, and fell in love, and it was fantastic.
Okay, but how did the money come in?
Well, she's a poet. She had a fairly low-paying job. She was a waitress. Not to say that I have anything against waitressing, because it's
of course not.
But she's needed, I thought, to spend more time on her writing, and I just said, hey, I'll make sure that you have enough money. I'll fund your writing.
Okay, what'd you think? What'd you think about that proposal?
Well, I had a problem with that right away, and I said no when he wanted to give me an allowance. I said I don't want to be a kept woman.
Yeah, but
I've never had any money.
Kept woman. I
have
told her
always,
that.
and the people
She's not going to be a kept woman.
But
are you a kept woman?
The people that I
No.
come from have always had to work really hard for what they've gotten, and in my world, money always comes with strings attached. And I said no.
We're on a
Then
loop
he
here.
said,
this has been like this for the last 6 months with her.
Then he said
I give her a lot of money.
that he would give me the money and to fund my work.
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
said that was an idea that I could
no
live
strings
with.
attached.
And he said we agreed.
Yes.
Did we not? That the money would come with no strings attached. He wouldn't ask me
we agreed,
where I spent
no strings
it.
attached.
It was my
Things
money.
have changed, Angela.
Wait a minute. Let me just explain something to you. When you go to your waitress job,
yes,
You get a check every week.
Yes.
There were always strings attached.
Yeah.
If you served me dinner,
well, there's strings
and I
attached.
left you a tip.
There's only strings attached in that I am doing a job.
The equation has changed here. She asked for more money. And here's the crux of the problem.
Is money the object?
No, it is not the object.
So there's
and I don't
no
care
object to
about
this money, and he says he
I'll
doesn't
give her
care about
10
it. Why
times
has
the
he
amount of money.
decided
It
to
doesn't
break his
matter to me.
promise to me?
You know what?
But I gave her a bunch of money.
Something weird is happening here. I have like two people talking at me. I'm in the middle, and I'm going, you know, and I'm not playing tennis, so I'm not enjoying it.
Okay, well, then let me just make my point, and then we'll get on with it. You know, so I gave her an extra stipend, more than a stipend of money. Where's it going? That's the only question I have. She's not buying CDs. She's not buying computers. She's not going out with her friends. She doesn't buy clothes.
Okay, let me paraphrase, because you really know how to go on. Let me paraphrase. Basically, what you're saying is that you gave her the money on a monthly basis with supposedly no strings attached, but you want to know where the money is.
I want to know where it's going because she's getting a lot of extra money now, and I'm not seeing any manifestation of this money.
No, see, that's something I have a big problem with.
Laura, okay? Yes. Obviously, you understand the fact that he's an investor. Yes. He would never throw money at something without any return. That's what an investor is. So, understanding that, don't you think it's a pretty logical question, where is the money going above and beyond what I gave you?
What I'm starting to feel is that he gave me this money in the beginning to get power over me.
Absolute crap.
Can I please
and
finish?
You know that.
Let me give you a little idea. See, what you say when people give you money that you don't want because you don't want them to have power, you give it back. That's how it works. You say, I don't want that money.
We had an agreement.
Besides the point,
I only agreed because he promised he wouldn't ask me where I spent it. And now I'm starting to resent the fact that he's here.
So give him the money back.
And he doesn't trust me.
No, you know what?
Give him the money back.
I want
the money.
I need the money.
Hey, you know what?
We had an agreement.
Quite
I need the money.
It's all about trust. Our relationship is breaking down. Our love is breaking down.
He didn't like me having
and
a waitress
all I want to know is.
So he offered to do this,
I don't trust her. I think she's doing something on the side with it. That's why I'm here.
Question, Laura, okay? Yes. Because you're going, I don't like him, but you took the money, okay? So that ended, all bets were off then because you took it.
Yes.
So, question, where's the money going?
The money is going to a friend.
A friend?
Yes.
Well,
Did you know that?
A friend. No, I didn't know that.
Okay, so the money's going to a friend.
Yes.
What kind of friend?
An old boyfriend of mine.
Oh, okay.
An
old boyfriend of mine.
So what do you have a hole in your pocket?
An ex-boyfriend.
I knew something was going on behind my back.
What was your first clue, investor?
I'm funding his rehab.
Rehab?
Rehab.
What is he, a drunk?
No, he's not a drunk.
What is he?
He's an ex-junkie like myself.
What?
An ex-junkie like myself.
Like yourself?
Together we met in rehab 10 years ago and we made a pact. When we were all doped up, we made a pact that if one of us got clean, that they would help the other person. I've been clean for 8 years.
Angela,
this is a promise that I made, and I intend to honor it. I
cannot believe this.
Well, you know what?
An ex-junkie. You are an ex-junkie.
This is exactly why I didn't tell him.
Well, no, you know what? That's not a junkie.
What if I was a male prostitute?
What if you were a male prostitute? Would that be in the past? Yes.
Yeah, it would have been in the past, obviously.
Let's work on this. Laura.
Yes.
You had every opportunity to tell him, you chose not to. Like, if you didn't take his money, you'd never have to tell him.
I chose not to because we agreed that we weren't going to do that.
Okay. However, the commitment you made to your ex-boyfriend, you're still willing to keep.
Yes.
And keep everything open.
Yes.
Do you see an imbalance here, or is it just me?
I do.
It's just you.
Okay, so explain it to me. Balance it out then.
Okay, this is something that happened 10 years ago. We have no emotional commitment anymore. He's a friend.
But we're getting married.
To whom I made a promise. And I intend to honor that promise.
Well, you know, part of your, and I know this, and you can relate to it, part of your recovery is that you have to make amends to all those you've hurt, as well as those in your new relationships.
That's right.
That's who's your new relationship.
And don't you think maybe her future husband might want to know she's an ex-junkie at some point?
I was afraid of losing you.
I don't care about the money. Why didn't you trust me? I wasn't going to pass judgment on you.
Did you hear me? I said I was afraid of losing you.
Yeah, but didn't you hear me?
You just passed judgment.
Do you feel any remorse for the fact that you didn't tell him?
Yes, I feel some remorse.
Okay, do you feel justified in the fact that he has a right to know? Do you understand
I feel justified in the fact that I didn't tell him for this long because I was afraid of exactly this. I was afraid of being judged, which is what the rich always do to the poor. It's what people do.
This rich thing?
Okay, goodbye. Time for my resolution. Talk to you soon.
You know, I told you when we first met, forget that I'm rich.
This story has more curves than Pamela Anderson. It was admirable. It was that you believed in her enough, Brian, to fund her work. That was admirable. But as an investor, you know that all investments require investigation. And I think you can look at this one and see that you didn't do a very good job of finding out enough before you put your money into somebody that you believed in. But we all make mistakes. And that's what you are. You're a big mistake. You know, the fact that, you know, being afraid was your, I guess, excuse for not telling him. But see, that's a reason. There's a difference between a reason and an excuse. You know, just because you're afraid is no excuse to not tell somebody what's going on in your past life and the fact that you're sending away money that he had given you in good faith. Now, I know that you thought you were going to lose him and all those other reasons and all that pretty much
and
crap.
The fact that he promised me he would.
You don't get to talk now. See, I do. You were deceitful and you were sneaky. And that is not a quality that anybody would want, ever. You know, one thing I can tell you that in my experience, over a decade of thousands of conversations with lots and lots of single people, I can tell you one thing I always say is that deceit is never a one-time deal. People that practice it proficiently, and they become able to do that to everybody. And I can tell you that in this case, he should run from you as fast as he runs to Wall Street every morning and realize that this stock is not good stock. You've lost your money. Say bye-bye. That's that, the final word.
Well, there it is. A dose of poetic realism from the lady who tells it like it is. Join us next time here at Singles Court, the final word for singles.